All right, welcome everybody. I'm glad we could jump on this call. This conversation is for all of our UK donors, which is a really important group of people that God has had as a part of the Cherish story from the very beginning. And so there are three of us on this call. I'm coming to you. My name is Brent, the CEO of Cherish, and I'm coming to you from Texas. It's 6 in the morning, so it's still dark where I am. And then Nigel Parker, he's coming to us from London, which it's about lunchtime there. And then Sam Gatima, who's a country director at Cherish, and he's in Uganda, which it's past lunch, and he's probably a bit hungry. So it's a bit of a little puzzle to get us all on the same call together, but we're thankful to be here. So we're not going to take much of your time. We want this to be just kind of a brief update, and then if you have further questions at the end, we'll tell you where you can direct those. So welcome to our call.
Great, thanks Brent for that. And just in case anyone wants to know who I am, I'm part of I'm one of the directors on the board of the UK, Cherish Uganda UK. And I've been involved with Cherish actually right from the start, which is quite a privilege really. I'm in the place meeting in Chelmsford, where the whole idea and vision before the team can have led to. So it's been quite a journey, and really sort of privileged to be on the board of Cherish UK as well. Brent, what I thought would be really good for all our donors, particularly those that have been on board a long time, would be to give them a quick, brief update from transition from when we started about 14 years ago to where we are today, and just bring us up to date. I think that'd be really, really helpful.
Yeah, it was many years ago when Bev Merle stood over a crib of a baby with HIV, and God put this vision into her heart that we can do something about the lives of kids and families that are really struggling because of HIV. And so we started off really as a children's home or an orphanage where abandoned children that families couldn't care for them ended up under our care. And we cared for those kids for many years. And we started to realize over time that as good of a organization as we could possibly be, it wasn't going to be as good as family could be. And so we started realizing that the children that we had under our care, that there was family members. It might not have been a mom or a dad, but there was an aunt, an uncle, or a grandma, or someone who wanted to care for this child. And so our social work team started working in this idea called family tracing, and figuring out where are family members connected to these children. And over the course of a couple of years, we were able to reintegrate those families, to rehome those children. Those children went from living in our care to now living with a family. And our social workers now their time is spent following up with those children and those families that we care for. Now we still have a hospital and we still have a school, and those two entities work with the families in our community, as well as some of those children and families that we've had for a really long time. That's part of our ministry. But we really transitioned over the years from a children's home to more of a family strengthening ministry. And we strengthen families now through social work and through counseling and through medical care and through education. And what we used to have was an organization that had a bunch of children, and we ministered to those children, and then all of a sudden it just opened up to now entire families that we're able to serve. So it's kind of made a shift if you looked at it and think, wait a minute, they don't have kids on site anymore? That's true. The only kids we have on site are children who are living in the dorms for the school, which is still many, but what it's done is it's expanded our ministry to now all of the families that are represented with each one of those children. So it's been a a long transition because you can't just like throw kids back into families. But it's been really amazing to watch the process of, children back with families and the significant benefit that that brings to them. So,
can I just ask another supplementary question, if I may? Just dip in.
Sure.
Are you still predominantly focusing on children with HIV and AIDS, or you expanded that remit?
Yeah, so our focus is children with HIV. That's kind of our specialty, if you lack of a better term. But we deal with vulnerable children and vulnerable families. So there's many people that we have in our schools. Like our secondary school is about 72%, I think it was, of children that have HIV. Our primary school was like 40-something, 45% children with HIV. So a big focus of our ministry is HIV, but we also have opened up to other vulnerable children as well. And in the midst of that, here we are moving forward as everyone else was when the COVID pandemic hit, and it definitely kind of put a little wrench in things at first, but we've kind of sorted things out. Sam, I wonder if you could just give us a quick update on how COVID has impacted Cherish and kind of what we're doing differently in the moment as we're navigating through that.
Oh, thank you, Brent, for that. COVID has affected us, Cherish, in quite many different ways, because we currently have the schools closed. But before the government of Uganda announcing that schools were going to be closed longer, it first of all announced that the schools would be closed for just a month. And for us as Cherish, we went on and announced to the children and the parents that we would close the schools until the end of the year, because financially we were in a position where we could not continue to run the schools based on the pandemic. And so by the time the government of Uganda said that schools were not going to open soon, up to now they haven't opened, we were already in that same space where our schools were not going to open until the end of this year. And because of that, we had to let many of the staff who were working in the schools and those who did many other different things that related to the school, not directly, to go. And that was 41% of the staff were let go. And we also had to change quite many other different things that we did. We had 2 different gates at Cherish, but we closed one gate and decided to use one because we have to make sure that everyone that comes through is checked. Before they walk in, they have to wash their hands or get sanitized before they go into the hospital. So a lot of even the way that we operated on the ground changed. A few other things that we also ended up getting involved in that previously we never were involved in were after closing out all the schools, the government had also locked down public transport. People could not move from place to place. And so our team had to figure out a way of even getting medicines to some children who are in places that were far and they could not quickly get to the hospitals, because as an organization that has a health center, we were allowed to have our vehicles move from place to place. And so we're able to go to certain places and make sure that some of the children are able to get their medicines. We also went on and provided food to some of the families that have children that came to our school and were really, really struggling. The government of Uganda had promised food to the people, but the food was not given out for so long. Up to now, the people who were promised food, but it never was given to them. And yet many people were stopped from working, people that work in marketplaces and those that had businesses in Kampala, those that rode the borders, fishermen. And yet these are the kind of things that most of the parents that we work with get involved in. And the families were in positions where there was no food, and so many children could not take their medicines because there was no food, and it was very difficult. So as Cherish, we ended up providing food. It was, and it was a hard decision to get to because we were in a place where financially we were not doing well, but we still had to figure out a way of providing food for the families until the time that the government started to actually open up a few of the activities that people would get involved in. Mainly, that's how we've been affected. Also, maybe just a few other things that people are currently doing, which is you come to work and you have to wear a mask. Big gatherings not allowed, and so we also try to keep the teams in different places. We only meet in smaller numbers when we have different things to do. We can't do devotions together as an entire team, which previously is what we did. And we've just tried to break those teams down to departments, and that's how we continue to meet. Yeah, Brent, maybe that's what I can briefly share for now.
Yeah, well, that's great. Thank you for that, Sam. And what's been interesting is as we hit the pause on school, it's really caused us to even reevaluate our schools, and are we doing what we need to do in those classrooms with those kids? And hundreds of kids that come to school every day, and they're learning amazing things, but we also realize a lot of our kids are graduating our programs and they're not able to get jobs, and we need to do something about that. So we're really kind of developing kind of real technical institute ideas right now, and we think this is going to be a really great thing. So our priorities moving forward are still going to be the same. Social work is a key one, because that's really where we get into the heart of the lives of our kids and our families. And then medical is a key one, because that's such a felt need, and we're able to meet the needs there. And then education, and we want to go beyond just what's learned in the classroom and really start to give them skills that they can really use to be able to get good jobs once they graduate. And all that built on a foundation of discipleship. And that's really the core of who Cherish has been and will continue to be, is we're here to disciple and help kids and families and staff members grow in their relationship with Jesus. And that's the beauty. That's kind of the thing that when people walk on site and they're like, oh, this place feels different. Like that, and they start asking questions, like it all comes back to that. It's because Jesus is here. That's why this place feels different, because what God is doing in this place. And so those three main areas, social work, education, and medical, those are the things that the vehicles that we use to get the life of Jesus taught and shown to the lives of our families. And so it's exciting. It's been a difficult time for sure through the pandemic, and programs have had to change, and finances have kind of done this as we've walked through that. But God continues to be faithful, which is awesome.
Brent, would you say the priorities have changed very much, the focus, as you said already, in the history and everything, what you're doing, from being very much looking after children on site and picking up children who are in desperate need from a health point of view, and then obviously the education came on board, and then the health centre. Whereas now actually the recognition is for children fully healthy and able to grow, they actually need to be part of the family, and actually taking them away from their family, which is essentially what happened before, is not necessarily the best thing for them. So actually put them back into family situations, and then basically as you're doing your family strengthening program, is actually about building the family up to take care of the children, to work with those children, and then the children's will be stronger through that, and also the country will be stronger if they have stronger families as well. Would you say that's the big transition that's taken place, really, from where we were, where we are now, and how your priorities now go forward are all based around that sort of change in strategy.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, at the beginning, what we felt, and there was definitely kids that were abandoned, that we didn't know where family was, and so that first team took those kids in their care, and then there was this idea that, oh, this family can't care for this child, so let's bring the child here. We'll do what we can and invest in this child and get them healthy, and then they'll go back with you, and things will kind of move forward. And what we realized was that gap of us caring for them without their family involved on a daily basis, that wasn't the best thing, and we didn't know that at the beginning. And so now that we know that, we have reintegrated those children with those families, and now we support the family from afar, rather than have the child here and the family over there, and maybe connect with them once a year, you know, on a family day. Now it's, no, the kids are back, and now the kids are under their care every day, and now we're doing our best to figure out how to build that family, and that around the unique needs of that family. Yeah, that's definitely a significant change, for
That's
sure.
right.
So as far as kind of what our team can do in the UK, Nigel, what are some suggestions for our people? You know, we have this team of people that there's some been giving since the beginning, and praying since the beginning, and supporting since the beginning, and then there's others that have kind of come on as the years have gone on. What can they do moving forward? Either those who are currently already involved in Cherish, or somebody who doesn't even know, just heard about Cherish. Like, what can they do?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing we want people to do is obviously to be supporters of Cherish. And you can support Cherish in a number of different ways. You know, one of the ways is clearly as Christians, you know, the Christian organisation, you know, we would want people to be praying on a regular basis for Cherish and the work that goes on. Pray for Sam and his team out there in Uganda, and in the work that you're doing, the decisions you have to make, the strategies that you're employing, and just praying for the children and all the families that are coming through the school and the health centre. You know, prayer is massive. You know, it's part of God's plan for us. And I think that's what we want to encourage all our supporters, if they can, is to commit to praying regularly. I think that's really, really important. And that's from the start, and it doesn't change. That definitely doesn't change. That's something that doesn't change. That's the same today and ongoing. So that's number one, I'd say, that we encourage everyone to support. Secondly, you know, try and be involved, try and be interact, to communicate with us. And you know, there's no reason why, if people feel they're not getting any information or not getting enough, well, look on the website, log on to Facebook, and be a friend of Cherish. Alternatively, contact people at Cherish, whether it's Sam, me, or yourself, and we can provide updates for what's going on. I mean, in better times, we would have said, yeah, if you want to get a group together and come out and visit, then that would be great. But I think right now, it's probably not possible. I imagine that's going to have to wait. You know, bring a team, organise a team. And the other thing, clearly, is that, you know, financially, you mentioned it, and Sam, you mentioned it as well. And, you know, financial support is always necessary, always needed. And for us to develop the work that's going on in Cherish, we need more finance. It's as simple as that. You know, can't shy away from the truth and the reality situation. So, you know, we want to really thank you who have been giving from the start. You know, you made this happen. You made this possible with a vision without actually seeing anything in place. But you committed to give and to regularly give, to support initially children who, you know, were the children in the homes. And obviously that's developed and changed and as time's gone on. But that money is really significant to the ongoing work that Cherish does. And now it's very much based around still their education, their health, but also building and strengthening the family units they all belong to. You know, and that has a massive impact on society in Uganda if we can help them. and build them up and strengthen them. And I would encourage anyone who's given, please, if you can continue to give, we really appreciate it that you can give. And for those that, are blessed and feel like they can give a bit more, we would really encourage you. Maybe now's a good time to say, okay, can I give a bit more? I mean, there's a lot of people, possibly, myself included, I would challenge myself. I haven't increased my giving to Cherish on a monthly basis since I started it. And I think I will commit to increasing that, to at least doubling that after this call. So you can check up on me and make sure I do it, all right? I will do, because I've been a bit remiss, because effectively, if nothing else, there'll be some inflation over time. We need to just be honest with our giving, and are we just reevaluate it. I mean, there might be some people who are struggling, and we appreciate that. And if you can still give, great. But feel released if you need to as well. But we'd really encourage people, if they can give more, to do so. And there's 14 years of history here where we've seen a massive change to people's lives and children's lives in Uganda. And it hasn't been without its trials, but it's all been made possible by yourselves, by giving. And regular giving really gives a strong base for the operation to continue on a day-to-day basis. Yes, you give one of gift to go, great. I think regular giving to a standing order of Cherish UK is really, really, really important to us. So again, thanks to everyone who's given, however small a gift it is. It really is. And don't forget, if you are in the UK, please gift aid it as well, because we can claim tax back, which is quite a significant amount of money. So that's also good. Yeah, Brent, I think that's about it. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's great.
Brent, I also just want to say thank you to the people that have continued to be a part of the story, what God is doing here in Uganda, in the lives of families, lives of individual children, but largely lives of different families. Money that you've given has supported, has helped grow many families and many children. It's through your giving that these children see the hope for life tomorrow. We in Uganda cannot do what we're called to do here if you have not given. So your giving enables us to step out there and be able to reach out to the different families. So I just want to say thank you to all of you that have given, all of you that have prayed, all of you that have continued to support in many different ways. So thank you.
Yeah, we can't say thank you enough. Thank you for your prayers and your finances and your encouragement. And Cherish exists because God put a vision on a small little group of people, in London, in Chelmsford, at a church, and said, "Hey, I want to do something," and they said yes. And now here we are. Literally thousands and thousands of people have been impacted over the years. Like, it's truly remarkable. Yeah, and thank you. Thank you doesn't seem enough just to say thank you, but we really, that comes from a deep place. We're grateful. So, and as Nigel said, please reach out on the website, www.cherishuganda.org, and you can find lots of people to click on and send messages to. And we're an open book. We have any question you have, we will do our best to give you the answer. If we don't know it, we'll find it out. But we're grateful for all that God's doing through literally people all over the world to accomplish the work that He's got for us. All right, well, thank you all for your time. Thank you guys for giving up lunch and showing up here. So yeah, we'll get this out to our friends in the UK, and we want to probably continue on with these kinds of communications to keep people up to date. So All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Right.